What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and join the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly though, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Sleeping Warrior, Paul and Karen B. Good to have you all.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Any signs of Sleeping Warrior?
Not yet.
Fair enough. Right, we'll do a bit of housekeeping nonetheless, if you're keen. Any signs of Earth curvature?
Not that I can tell so far.
Karen? No? Did a little
No,
expose
no,
on it yesterday? On Earth curve and axial rotation? No? Nothing to say?
I'm afraid not.
Fair enough. What about axial rotation specifically? Any signs of that?
Well, I think people are saying there's this 15-degree rotation going on out there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Saying Bob and Jaron proved it on Globebusters.
I've actually asked Bob if he'll have me on Globebusters on Sunday to talk about exactly that. So, I don't know, 6 months ago, maybe a bit less, I had a similar conversation with John Savage about gyroscopes specifically and how they're not scientifically valid and the reasoning behind them isn't valid either. Someone in the chat a couple of days ago said, isn't what Bob is doing a formal logical fallacy known as affirming the consequent? And I was like, yeah, it is. Which is bad news and good news. You know, it's bad news in the respect that if people thought that it proved something, it didn't then, it doesn't now, and won't ever. You know, it's exactly the same as us pulling apart Cavendish. It's no different. But there we go. So I'll just have to do the same. In this respect, I'll be chopping the heads off flat earthers with the same exact sword of scientific methodology. However, it's in the face of people literally using and affirming the consequent to then claim that Bob, who they have all in their own minds discredited up until now, is suddenly the arbiter of proof for the spinning ball. Okay, well, if you want to take Bob as the proof, well, you'll also have your shattered illusions put before you on Sunday. God willing. So there we go. Okay, so any signs that you can have a gas pressure without a container?
No.
Nope.
No? There's a lot of fundies out there that believe in the vacuum of space. No?
Yeah, Karen.
Oh,
I really
boy. That video that I did where I narrated John Dee's video, boy, there's a lot of people on there who seem to think that that's possible. And they think that I just don't understand. We just don't understand how it works.
You just don't understand.
Yeah. You just don't understand.
Yeah, we really struggle with those natural laws. Moving on. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
still got to figure out what it is first, right?
Nope.
Basically, no.
No, fair enough. What about any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
No.
Really? Really? Come on, there must be some. No? Well, fair enough. What about scientific evidence of gravity?
You demolished my possible idea yesterday, so I don't think so. No.
Gravity. No gravity.
Yeah, we're told it's a law. Amazing. What about the presupposition of an R value? Earth radius. Any signs of that, lady or gentleman?
No.
I mean, I would even think, how would you even accomplish that task? How would you go about trying to determine the radius? Even if you're looking at it from the outside, it's an angular issue problem. So I don't know.
Just need manpower, right? And big whips. Shout out to Colin Turner for the super chat. He says, smash the super chat. Paying to advertise my super chat. Thank you very much, Colin. You've been a huge supporter of the channel. You've hit the super chat numerous times, so thank you very, very much for your support. Really do appreciate it. Hello, Deanne.
I have to take a call.
All right.
How you doing? Good to have you.
Hi, guys.
Hello. You missed
Had some trouble
housekeeping.
joining.
Yeah, you didn't get to partake in housekeeping, unfortunately, Deanne. But yeah, that concludes our housekeeping.
No, to everything.
No, no. That was easy. So back to your gas pressure definitely not being able to exist next to a vacuum. Karen, did you say you'd had lots of comments in general, or lots of positive comments as well, or is it just the negativity?
Hi, folks.
Well, both.
Hey, Mark. Sorry, you go ahead, Karen.
I'm back.
Yeah, mostly what people are saying is that because there's a pressure gradient and the air gets less dense as you go higher, that it goes up to basically nothing. And so that by the time you get to the top of the outer layer of our pressurized atmosphere, there's nothing against the vacuum. I don't even know the logic behind that, how that even works in their mind, but that's what they're saying.
Just the same old crappy straw man then. Nothing much changes in flat Earth sometimes, eh? Hey, Chocolate?
Right.
Good morning, everybody.
Hello.
Good morning, Chocolate.
Good morning, Karen. How are you?
I'm great.
Just to round that out, that's a straw man on account of the fact that it doesn't address the problem. So the question that we put in housekeeping is, how do you have gas pressure without a container? Well, gas pressure doesn't change if you say gas pressure gradient. So at some point there will still be something that requires to press upon a surface in order for it to be a pressure. It doesn't just dissipate to nothing. That violates the second law of thermodynamics. Without the container, there can be no pressure, to quote one of your globehead compadres, known as conspiracy cats, and he's absolutely correct. How do you measure it? PSI? Per inch of what exactly? A vacuum? No, you can't press on a vacuum. You need a surface of a container, the necessary antecedent to have gas pressure. So unfortunately, gas pressure gradient doesn't address the problem of needing something to press upon, to be pressure. Hello, new guest. I didn't actually catch your name. Andrew, how you doing?
Hi, it's Andy Lockyer, yeah. How's it going?
Very well, very well. Good to have you. Is this your first time joining us?
It is, yeah. Thanks for letting me come on the show.
Oh, it's a pleasure having you. What side of the fence do you sit?
I've got a P900. I haven't done any tests with like distance like you guys have, and obviously a lot of other channels have. To be honest, I started off just filming chemtrails and planes and stuff. I know that's off the topic. But then once I started filming things like that, there's a lot of other things I sort of found out, and it just went from there. I don't believe we live on a spinning ball, no. But as to whether the Earth is flat, I believe that more than anything. But whether it is true, I mean, we're all yet to find out, aren't we, really?
So you're a globe skeptic?
Definitely a globe skeptic, definitely, yeah.
Good place to be. I have a
I mean, I've got...
Sorry, go ahead, new guest, speak up.
Sorry, yeah, I actually wanted to come on here to there's a video I made, which is on YouTube, it's called "I Have a Question About the Moon." I know it's got nothing to do with the Earth being round, but I mean it has to do with the moon being round. Basically, I video a lot of stars, the moon, all sorts of things. And just when videoing the moon one night, I was looking at the craters and I'm thinking, well, why are they all, I mean, they're not perfectly round, but why are they all pretty much round? Why aren't the big gouge marks and scrapes where, you know, if these craters are supposed to have been made by meteors or things like that, coming in at thousands of miles an hour and hitting the moon, and the moon is 4 times smaller than the Earth, so I presume there would be even more curvature. How can these impacts all appear to look as if they've been hit from a 90-degree angle, you know, from straight above and not any other angle, you know?
Do you want the spitball answer, the one that's just an idea that I'm not saying is definitely true, but is my perception? They're not actually craters.
I mean, someone did put a comment on my channel saying that they reckon that it was gravity. As the objects come in, the gravity pulls them square to make them fall straight down. But, I mean,
it appears to me, and this is just me spitballing, so don't take this as me stating like the flat Earth claim. This is just my interpretation of what I'm looking at. It looks to me like the moon is a big, massive Van de Graaff generator, and it arcs out to Earth, and the craters are caused by electricity arcing across the Earth, the gap between them, because the moon's now in our atmosphere. It seems to me that there's a build-up somehow, and it either goes from the moon to the Earth or from the Earth to the moon, and they're actually scarring from basically arc strikes from the Earth, like the transfer of electricity. That's what it appears to me.
I have a different
Shout out to Matthew Lemons, is it? I can't see it with the glare of my screen. Keep up the great work. I've been subscribed to Anthony as well. Brilliant. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat, Matthew. I really appreciate it.
Gentlemen, if you mix concrete wrong with too much water, when it sets with what appear to be craters, but all it is popped bubbles, very similar to the texture of the moon.
But if you look at the main crater on the moon that sits kind of off center, kind of like below and to the left of center, the big one, can't remember what it's called, but it looks just like a big an arc welding strike where you put a welding rod on a piece of metal and then arc it, and then you start welding. Once you finished arcing and finished your weld patch, you look back where it started, that initial strike looks just like what you see on the moon. Obviously, it's just my spitballing. I'm not saying that's what really is going on, but that's what I think's causing these craters.
I'll say again, I'm not saying I know, what's causing it, but what I'm saying is I'm pretty much sure that it's not from meteors and impacts like that, because they wouldn't hit and leave craters like that. There would be big scars and gouges, imagine if a plane was coming down, it's not going to hit bang straight from 90 degrees. They're going to come in from all sorts of angles, aren't they?
I think the moon is a Van de Graaff generator. And we're looking at the dome part from the underside. And I reckon every month every month when it gets to the new moon phase where we can't see it, that's because God takes it off, puts a new belt on it it'll last for another month, sticks it back on, and then the moon goes round its cycle again. It's like a big Skelex trick.
Anthony, can you repeat what you think the moon is?
No, we don't want him to repeat any of it. Thank you.
Nathan, can I present something?
I'm just saying that it's not a big cosmic rock that we can land a rocket on.
Yeah.
Okie doke. Sorry, Mark.
No, that's the other thing as well. If you don't mind me saying, it's like now they're saying about apparently they've just found out about, obviously you've all been talking about it. Moon is Earth's atmosphere now stretches out past the moon. Well, I don't know how many times, but I mean, how many people are supposed to have gone to the moon, and how many different probes, etc., are supposed to have gone to the moon? Now, don't you think one of the first things, if I was doing a moon expedition or expedition to any other planet, the first thing I would do is say, right, test the atmosphere. Surely they would have found out by now without having to analyze all this data from wherever it was they got it from.
How about this? If the atmosphere actually does reach into the moon, then could you technically go there with a balloon?
Well, yeah, who knows?
It's 12, just so you know.
Right.
So, Mark, I'm sure you piped up in the middle of that.
Yeah, can I just present something I did yesterday in the studio?
Absolutely. Go right ahead.
Okay. I took this photograph in the studio yesterday. It's a demonstration of refraction. The glass is real. The water is real. I put a green card and a pink card behind the glass. And what you can see is that the glass twists everything round. So the green is on the wrong side and the pink's on the wrong side. Can you see that, folks?
Yep.
Mhm.
So it's just when something's being refracted, it's an optical illusion. Now, here we go. This is just a little bit of a theory that I've got. If we put it on each side now, so that the green, the center line is actually the horizon. Okay, the pink is the sky and the green is the water. And if we bring up Photoshop, I've now extended the horizon to the right, and we're going to introduce Toronto skyline. And now we're going to start shifting the Toronto skyline to be behind the refraction. Now, we all know that there's refraction at the horizon, and it does all sorts of optical tricks. Now, when somebody tells us that you can't see the bottom of the buildings because of the curve, it's not because of the curve, it's because of refraction. At the top of the glass now, or the top edge of the glass, would be the apparent horizon that we would be seeing. And that's the reason why we can't see the buildings behind it, not because of a curve, but because of refraction.
I think there's more to it than that. If you don't, is that the end? I don't want to cut you off if there's more.
No, there's obviously there's more to it than that. But whenever you can't see the bottom of the buildings, it's not because of curve. There's other explanations as well.
Absolutely.
That band of refraction is what's confusing people. So that's the end of my lesson today.
So thank you very much for that. I mean, I want to put a couple of caveats. So first and foremost, when we say the word refraction, we are talking about what Mark has photographed in his glass. That's real refraction. When a globe earther talks about refraction, they're talking about terrestrial refraction, which is absolutely nothing to do with what Mark is demonstrating here. It is merely an arbitrary 7/6R applied to the mathematics that presupposes R in the first instance. That is what they are talking about, globe heads. So refraction, real; terrestrial refraction, mathematical concept. So the two are not the same. One is not based on the other, as much as they may try and lead you and deceive you, especially people like Mick West, into falsely believing that it is based in some way on actual refraction. Terrestrial refraction, 7/6R, is just that, terrestrial refraction. Some bullshit made up mathematical construct to bend light around a presupposed sphere. What Mark has just demonstrated is real refraction. Now, while what Mark says is absolutely true, you do lose things and have them distort at the bottom closest to the horizon because of the increase of atmosphere that you are looking through when you are looking perpendicular to the ground over a extended distance. However, there is also the effects of foreshortening and the narrowing of your field of view and the angular resolution limit of your target itself, which can also cause things to disappear. So yes, when you can actually physically see something and it's being stretched, warped, distorted at the bottom, it is because of the effects of true, real refraction. And obviously, as detailed a moment ago, the effects of foreshortening, the effects of the limitation of your angle, and the angular limitation of the target you're looking at. So yes, it's not just as simple as that, but there are genuinely effects of refraction. Ranty has demonstrated them on a multitude of occasions. So yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Mike.
I'm not saying it's an absolute explanation of it. I'm just demonstrating that things can be distorted when refraction is going on, and the assumption that blockage is curvature It's just an assumption.
Can I
Whereas
screen share for a sec?
Rushkan?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just getting people messaging me offline in the background saying, "What can you explain that a little bit better?" I'm not saying this is definitely the case with the moon. I'm just saying that this is how it appears to be. Perhaps the moon is this little moon, and perhaps the Earth is this big Earth. Perhaps there's a proximity issue with the moon and the Earth, and it effectively acts as a Van de Graaff generator. And the scorch marks that we see on the moon are the scorch marks caused between the jumping of the gap.
Yeah.
Perhaps, and we do live in an ethereal realm. We do have energy up there, and we have lightning storms. There's a lot of energy up there. We know that. I'm just saying it seems more logical and reasonable for me to think that the moon isn't a giant space pad we can land rockets on. It seems to me more that this might explain why these scorch marks that look like craters are actually caused by electricity. So just for those that are asking, what was I talking about? Can you explain that? That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it definitely is, but I'm just saying that this could be seen as being the Earth, and this could be seen as being the moon, and there could be scorch marks passing between the two caused by electronic transfer or electric transfer. That's all.
Are you presupposing the Earth and the Moon are globes?
on their model, of course.
Okay.
You had
I actually think that if the Earth is actually flat and you're looking up on this, we're looking on the underside of it. And if you look at a belt-driven Van de Graaff generator, so let's see if we can find a belt-driven one. Belt-driven Van de... how do you spell Van de Graaff? Imagine that. Hopefully, I'll get a picture. Hopefully, I'll get a picture now of what I'm thinking of. So there's right. So imagine. There you go. So this one here. Make that a bit bigger. So imagine that there's a belt driven, and we're looking from above, looking down, and we're looking just on this half moon. That's what we see, the face of the moon. Perhaps behind the scenes, there's some kind of like electricity creating thing that we can't see because it's the other side, and that's what's creating or allowing the discharge. And I'm only spitballing. I'm not saying it's absolute, but it seems to me that the moon can't be a cosmic space rock that we land a rocket on. But there does seem to be swarf marks caused by welding, and that would explain for me the craters.
That's not a moon. That's a space station.
I know. I'm just. The question was, how do you explain the craters? And for me, I don't see them as craters. I see them as scarring caused by electric transfer.
I see them as a big fractal because, yeah, I'm still having a hard time finding this proof of a actual physical nature of any of it.
Do we know if
I tend to agree.
Do we know if the moon's craters have changed that much over the years?
Never. Not
So
a
that's
single time.
I have a funny tidbit of information to share about the moon. When I was about 4 months ago or so, first looking into the moon landings, which was inspired by, I can't even think of his name. He's friends with Crowder.
Owen Benjamin.
Owen Benjamin, yes. And I had calculated, because based on NASA's information, so many meteors hit every day on the moon, apparently. And since the time of the Apollo missions, there would have been like 2 billion meteors hit. Yet they have these photos of these little pixelated things showing their fully intact sites of the Apollo missions, at least what they say. Yet 2 billion meteors would have hit the moon in that time span. And there's nothing wrong with these sites that China showed or whatever. And the craters haven't changed. No change in the apparent. Yeah. So I just thought it would be funny to share that.
Well, think about it from the other perspective as well. Like when we have an electrical storm or a lightning storm, that energy's got to come from somewhere, right? Someone must be feeding it, because I don't know how all the energy gets up there. It may be caused by weather. It might not be. I don't know. But what I do know is that when there's a lightning storm, and there's a lot of lightning storm because it's like hot and dry and whatever, that energy's got to come from somewhere. And I don't know. It just seems to me to be more logical to think that the moon is some kind of conductive material that facilitates the electronic transfer to maybe balance out the system, perhaps. Mother Nature. If there's too much energy, that's perhaps how it gets rid of it from Earth after a lightning storm. If the lightning storm wasn't enough or whatever, I don't know. Just looks to me like it's electric storm. That's all.
Well, presupposing the Earth is a globe, that may be correct.
No, presupposing that the moon's got a dome shape to it, be it convex or concave. I can't work out whether it's convex or concave either.
Well,
have you seen
How about starting with, is it really physical?
Well,
and if it is physical, then why don't you see it for 2 days when it's supposedly passing in front of the sun, while you can see the dark side in other moments?
I know. If you look at Phuket Word's latest video on whether or not the moon could be concave, this is the dilemma I always have with the concave moon idea, because it does explain what we're looking at more so than any other explanation. But I hate the idea that it might possibly be right, because it just seems so crazy. But if I challenge anyone to go and check Phuket Word's latest video out and then come back and tell me that that's impossible, because the only conclusion you can come back with is that it is actually possible, and it's not necessarily probable, but it's definitely an option that we can't necessarily rule out very easily, and we should consider it, because whatever it is that we're living on, it's clearly not a ball of the size they're telling us, and we need to do a bit more research and try and work together to come up with that explanations for why it looks so created, perhaps.
It's fractal natured, and apparent concavity may be part foundationally of that fractal nature. That's how I see it. But yeah, it's still all completely holographic to me. It's all light. Doesn't behave like physical objects when you approach them, or in any sense for that matter. But yeah, it's an interesting thought experiment as to how does something visually come into being like that by comparing it to physical things, like that machine you presented.
No more.
The thing is,
I was just going to say, it's no more.
Are we ever going to find out with what we have, our cameras and everything? Are we ever going to find out what's true? Do you know what I mean? I think you were saying before, if we had the budget of NASA, goodness knows what you could achieve. But I don't see how any.
That's
I mean, it's like this show. I mean, this is a great show, and it's very entertaining. And don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking it at all. It's a fantastic show, but it's entertaining. Are we ever going to come up with proof, which we can verify and have, loads of experiments where they all show the same thing, so we know it's actually true?
Well, yeah, because
wouldn't there be a way of
hang on,
whether you believe the world's flat, square, round, triangle, or anything?
Right, this is where this show getting. This show plays a role. It plays a part, right? And it's only a part. When you're asking about the evidence, will we ever prove? That's what FE Core's for. FE Core's doing that. So what we're doing is facilitating one aspect, which is, where's your proof? Because apparently the whole body of science is telling us this, but we're just asking where the proof is. But FE Core are doing the alternative stuff, which is the experimentation or the observation side to it. And we all have our role to play. We're just allowing people to realize that all this science and evidence, this preponderance of evidence, doesn't actually exist. And that's the reason why we're here. For me, that's what I think.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. I do. And I say the show's fantastic, and it must be waking a lot of people up. And look, I mean, how many Globers or ball believers have you got on the show today?
None,
but we've got a full panel.
Well,
so.
Exactly. So, no one will they? They won't dare to argue, because what can they argue about? They've got no proof of anything, have they?
That's the point. That's why we're here. That's the reason why I come here every day.
If they had proof, this show wouldn't exist.
Yeah,
because
we're
Hold on, guys.
Can
I just interject a second? Sorry, Chocolate. Just want to pipe up.
What I want
to
try and say is, wouldn't there be a way of getting loads of channels together? Where I say, whether you believe it's a ball, whether you believe it's flat, whatever you believe, isn't there a way that we could all, and all the people surely would all contribute and do some type of experiment that we can all agree on, which would actually try and make a difference?
Okay, so I don't see that as necessarily the step that we are on currently. So yes, it would be great if we could make progress in terms of figuring out some of the now unanswered questions that we are left with in light of the deception. but that doesn't alter the fact that it is still absolutely asserted that we do have the answers to these questions. So we can't move forward trying to resolve answers to questions that most people believe they already have the answer to. So I see the show as a conduit for demonstrating the lack of validity to the current assertions. So if you are to assert that the sky is a vacuum, then that needs to be stamped out before you can move forward and say, what is the sky? Because if you ask that question to anybody outside of this panel currently, they will say, well, they won't put it in these terms, but I will. They'll say the sky is a vacuum. Well, the sky is not a vacuum, but that is what they believe and will state if asked that question. So for us to try and answer what is the sky when there's already an answer in place is kind of a bit of a misnomer. You first need to make it absolutely and unequivocally clear that the people who tell you currently what the sky is, and this is where I was trying to pipe up with Anthony, Anthony's story is no more or less valid than the current sky rhetoric in terms of what the sky is and what the moon is. A couple of presuppositions and a just so story. That's what Anthony's just given everybody, and that's what the current heliocentric priests give everybody. So I see my purpose.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I just see my purpose as stamping that out.
Isn't it?
It's my bad. I won't conclude my point.
Say it's all, nowadays science is all just based on theories, isn't it? There's no actual fact. The only proof we ever have is from NASA, and if anyone's done any research on NASA, I mean, you wouldn't believe anything they show or say.
But again, there's a
Isn't that
terminology
one of the reasons
issue.
why we're asking for proof of things now, when we're still getting Aristophanes and all these things that happened hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, Cavendish. I mean, why don't we have brand new experiments every day coming up with new technology, new stuff to absolutely prove that we live on a spinning ball? That's the whole purpose.
Because it's impossible.
Yeah, there you go. As simple as that. Because people out there aren't arguing things that have been proven. So the very fact that we're having this debate is the problem. That it's almost heavy evidence, I want to say. I don't want to say proof, but it's heavy evidence that, there is something wrong with the model, because we're still debating it. Has been proven. I'm done.
I kind of want to go back to the moon real quick with the new scientific claim that the moon is within Earth's atmosphere. They had the angle of re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere, the space shuttles, as 40 degrees. So are they going to retrofit? How are they going to retrofit that with the new scientific claim? And also, there are asteroids that supposedly bounce off of Earth's atmosphere, and so how do they enter the Earth's atmosphere and hit directly towards the moon? I mean, the angle would not be if it's the angle of entry is 40 degrees, it wouldn't hit the moon, would it?
Do you want to know my main issue with this?
Depends on the atmospheric shape surrounding it all.
So the problem I see with this is this narrative that's been put forward is, in my opinion, designed for us. It's designed for the flat earthers to start discussing, in the respect that what it facilitates is us to start begging the question for them again. So what you're now detailing is a heliocentric world of spheres with a moon falling around an Earth and the atmosphere extending out beyond the sphere Earth to the moon that's a sphere. You've got their rhetoric in every part of the discussion, established, understood by every member of the audience, while you pick apart one element within that narrative. And it's like the bloody curve calculator all over again. It was like... Ranty's getting it in the ear for me at the moment, but it's just one of those things. Sorry, Ranty, if you're listening, it's nothing personal. But Ranty still wanted to go back to the curve calculator and say, well, how much is or isn't missing? And it's like, well, as soon as you do that, they've won. You're into their narrative of a ball Earth. You're already begging the question for them. So that's what they want. They want us to argue all day long about the strange foibles and strange parts of the model that don't work, because then everybody's all talking about the model. So yeah, we could discuss escape velocity and re-entry angle and pick it apart from within their narrative. But why? You're begging the question already for them. So great, good news for them if they want to keep everyone programmed, because we're still arguing from within the spherical Earth model, and it's just not necessary. Shout out to Cynical Skeptic for the super chat, really appreciate it. So in my humble opinion, and this is what I said to Ranty the other day, why bother? This war is won. Tilt your head slightly upwards, look at the beautiful blue sky, and say, vacuum, you say? You know, that's the end of the argument. It doesn't matter if they push it out a bit further in their model. Who cares? You can't have a vacuum next to gas pressure. It's the end of the argument. So this little change in narrative, for me, I don't know if this is correct, is for us to get us back on track, begging the question, arguing within their model. Because as long as we're arguing within their model, it's win-win for them. Well, no, screw their model. Don't live on a sphere with an extended atmosphere up to the moon. I don't even know what the moon is. And I know for damn sure that the sky isn't a vacuum. But that's part of their narrative, so long as we're talking... It's like rockets in space. Well, you're automatically assuming space, right? Why? Just debunk the medium. Then you don't have to argue about rockets in space or satellites, pictures from space. It's all bollocks, because space is fake. You can't have gas next to a vacuum. That's the end of that argument. The war is won. So why go back into the narrative? Why go back into the curve calculator? Why go back into the heliocentric world with the moon falling around your sphere Earth? Just so you can say, wouldn't your re-entry angle not work? Sorry that was a bit elongated, but I've had at least 24 people. You're now, another couple of days, another couple more people coming up with this. And it's always flat earthers. It's never a globe head.
They're just looking like, whoa, what's happening? What are they discovering? What are we going to have to accept now? But yeah, Nathan, it's not over yet, okay? You think this is like the last move they make? Don't be too certain. Don't get too comfortable, because they're gonna bring in some really smart moves, I think.
Well, they just keep making stuff up. Did you know that last year that the edge of space was actually 12 miles closer to Earth?
Yeah. We need a citation for that. Let's go through this, because this is hilarious.
I'm sharing it. I'm screen sharing it. If you want to look at the article, it says the edge of space just crept 12 miles closer to Earth. So they're basically saying that the Kármán line, the edge between space and our atmosphere, actually got closer to Earth. And this is July 25th of 2018.
That's not actually the main point of what they're trying to say.
No, it's the complete opposite, Arwin. That's the point. Arwin, that's the point, Arwin. Before you hijack this, Arwin, you're not listening.
I want to have a damn say.
Well, that's because you said that's not the point they're making, which tells me instantly you've missed the point. No, it's not the point they're making. It's the complete opposite of the point they're making. That's the point Karen's making. You've just missed that point.
Come on, Arwin. Read the article before you jump.
I don't need to. I already heard it. I already heard the narrative rollout that came from it.
So you think that You think that Karen's got this wrong?
No, I'm saying that's not the actual angle of what they're saying. That's not the target.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. So what's the angle that they're saying in the article, Arwin?
What they're saying is the Earth is losing atmosphere. That's actually what the article is telling people.
So the edge of space got 12 miles closer then, right?
No, of course not. It's all still presupposed, but that is what the actual angle of the article is supposed to be for.
I think you're missing the point, Arwin.
No, I am not missing the point. You're missing the point.
Hold on. You mean the article that says that the moon is within the atmosphere is saying that? Is that what you're saying, Arwin?
No. Of the space getting closer to Earth. It's not about, what is the fact actually? No, that's saying, look, space is creeping up on the Earth. We're losing atmosphere. That's the actual plant that they're seeding right there.
Okay, you're both right.
Plays into another narrative.
Oh, Arwin. So, yes, you're both right. This is typical Orwellian doublespeak. They simultaneously tell you the Earth's got closer to the moon. We already knew this in 1998, while they double speak and tell you that it's creeping closer, just to keep you in this suspended nonsense world. It's just double speak.
It is.
I want to drop a sentence. Have you guys all seen how desperate the blockheads are getting on Facebook? Like last couple of days, it's been like tens and tens and tens and probably hundreds of debunking videos popping up. Just I cannot even keep track of them. It's like so amusing. I think they're so desperate and they're scared that we saw that they're desperate. So now they're getting to do our job for us. So they're just killing themselves while making flat earth go mainstream. Like they're spreading the word faster than we can. I mean, they're awesome in their suicide. Just marvelous.
To be honest, I think what they're doing is desperately trying to get away from the gas pressure point, because the gas pressure point destroys their argument, it destroys conspiracy cats, and they need a distraction. So they've probably made a concerted effort to focus on something. And I think that this is all they're doing. They're just deliberately finding something so that they can all jump on to take the heat off conspiracy cats, because he knows that you can't have a gas pressure without a container.
I don't think they're all doing it just for conspiracy cats, but it's a funny analogy. No, I think there's more coming. And I think, look, even in my mind, I've conceptually already thought of a solution to it. I've actually shared it a couple of times. I think they're probably going to do that. And they're just laying the groundworks for it, for that to become a possibility, theoretically.
So you just think they're flooding us with more and more Orwellian doublespeak, so that eventually something
They're
sticks.
just finding solutions to the problems. Theoretically.
Yeah, throwing mud at the wall. That's what I mean. Throwing as much in as they can until something.
Rearranging the presuppositional system.
But even if they do come up with some explanation, it's still just an explanation, as Nathan has said.
Of course, but it will bypass some major problems that we are now using to bang their heads over with. And they're going to take that away from us because they have to, and they can.
You can see the despair of some of those videos, the way they speak, the way they comment their own videos, the way they're, just trying to get a hold of the straw is just even a regular guy not even into flat earth arguments can see that they're desperate. So funny.
Well, nobody likes to have pointed out to them that their religion is total bullshit. So that's not surprising.
It doesn't
mean that they can't make a technical effort to do some damage control. It's historically known that religions do that. That they actually change scripture, for example, even sort of openly to bypass certain temporary problems, create a slightly different narrative, and then fix that upheaval. That's what religions do. That's how it works. You think that heliocentrism is not going to do that? Think again.
In our they trust.
Right.
Can somebody say the Latin thing? I want to learn it. Gravitus Spiritus.
Say the prayer, Nathan.
I was just digging it out on the comments. I was just going to stick it in the chat feed while you were saying it. I will stick it in anyway. So yeah, Radius Dominus Gravitus Spiritus Sanctus Arwin. Go in peace, globe heads. In R you trust.
Love it. Love it.
I'm in a prayer. Whee!
We
it's
need
heliocentric
like
prayer, but
an R-shaped bottle with holy water in it so we can splash it on them. The power of R compels you. The power of R compels you.
Yeah, I will have to say,
it's actually a laboratory tube, of course.
Yeah, science compels you.
Arwin, can I make this into a T-shirt? Like I want to have a T-shirt with the prayer. Are you fine having your name on a T-shirt?
Who's playing piano?
That's my daughter. She's over here banging on the piano. Sorry about that. But I will make a comment. Hang on, let me just stop her. But I will make an observation. Everything has danger.
Audience is increasing.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would definitely keep yourself off mute while you tell her to keep quiet.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Okay. It's very funny.
Everything has the potential to become a religion. Everything, even the flat Earth movement has that potential, and it's always, we need to be self-aware enough that we don't start doing the very thing we're claiming others are doing, and it's very easy to fall into that trap and not realize it, because you do get so focused on, what you think and what you believe and all this stuff, whatever it may be, that we start doing the very things we're claiming others are doing. I'm not saying we're doing it as of yet, but there's a danger in that. We need to be aware of that and be cognitively aware of that, And I think the constant search for truth should be the preeminence, in whatever it is. And I'm saying that as a Christian, because I think truth lies not just in the pages of a book, but in the world around us and the people around us. And, we need to constantly be aware that somebody may have something good to say, and they need to be aware of that and hear what they have to say. We might disagree with the majority of what they say, but there might be a piece that's relevant. And I think that's the danger we all run into. And I just want to say that, because it's easy to ridicule, but we could fall into the same trap.
Paul, do you think that going religious it's like has something to do with entertaining certain type of model, like the heliocentric model? Like, let's say if somebody sticks to the A map, and is that what you mean, like religious, not let go of certain thing?
I think it's Dublash, butchering these names. Thank you very much for the super chat. It says, how do flat earthers believe the earth was formed? I have absolutely no idea, but thank you for the super chat.
Was you talking to me, and my Bluetooth kicked off, and I didn't hear much of what you were saying?
I was just saying the religious thing. Is it like if you hold on to a model too tight, like the heliocentric model? You're referring close to this point, or just in general?
Just more of a general statement. I mean, when anything becomes dogmatic, I think then that being dogmatic becomes the religion itself. And I mean, like I'm a Christian, and I see it with even in the realm of what I, where I've walked, and I've seen Karen's encountered it from other Christians. There can be a dogmatic nature to whatever it is. The dogmatic doesn't. It could be a true dogmatism, but if it overrides something, and if it forces you not to see something, if it closes your eyes to see something, that's kind of what I'm saying. I think it applies across the board. I mean, I've seen it in scientism. I've seen it in a doctor's preview of something that they're trying to push. I've seen it across the board. Nobody can escape it. So that's all I'm saying is be careful that we don't fall in the same trap.
Yeah, gotcha. In the history of humankind, a standing body of water was never seen to display convexity on its surface, as a fact.
Can I go over something that I've been looking at as far as just timelines with gravity? And so basically, in 1959, NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center was formed, and we get the current modern radius of Earth being 3,963 miles from there. So, but in 1915, Einstein's field equation uses Newton's gravitational constant. And that was formed in 1687. And Newton's equation for universal gravitation uses Earth's radius. Earth's radius was found in 240 BC by Eratosthenes, and he used stadians, and he measured the radius to be 39,789 stadians, and that currently translates to anywhere between 6,247 kilometers to 8,316 kilometers. And yet, so I just find how they kept using someone else's equation, all based out of Eratosthenes' measurements, and the measurements vary that greatly. I mean, a difference of almost 2,000 kilometers for the radius of the
You
Earth.
missed one step. So all of these measurements, in quotes, require the presupposition that Earth is spherical to begin with. So you have to have a ground zero,
Correct.
somebody that actually presupposes in the first instance that the Earth is a sphere, and that was Aristarchus.
Yes, I agree. They just go, okay, Earth's probably a sphere, so we'll just do it by degrees, 360 degrees.
Yeah, all of them are based on the R value being to the centre of a sphere from Aristarchus onwards. So he sees a light in the sky and a shadow, what he thinks is a shadow, move across it, and he says, well, it must be a spherical shaped Earth causing that shadow. From there on in, you have the presupposition that the R that they will go forth to measure is the R of a sphere Earth.
In 2019, Jose quotes, "I don't believe in childish bandy water stuff," end quotes. But yet there is a curve.
No offence to Jose, but there's quite a lot he doesn't understand about what he asserts, and obviously he's on his way back to the ball, and some of the assertions, you know, he sat on the panel, but he didn't necessarily understand how they're being picked apart, because when he makes them, he doesn't know what he's saying. Like yesterday, me pointing out that you'd have to tip back on your ankles if you were to assert that there's a curve rising up, but he didn't get that. You know, he doesn't appreciate that he's making the assertions that he is. Shout out to Brandon for the super chat. Really appreciate your support. Things burn up when entering the atmosphere, is what we are told. But how if it is extends to the moon? So much confusion in the model. Yeah, indeed. Hey Eric, you're on the panel, aren't you? Is Eric on the panel? No, he's not
He
on the
dropped
panel.
off.
No, he's not there.
Shout out to Eric for the super chat. Really appreciate your support. Smashing the super chat a lot, big spender. Thank you very much, Eric. People tend to believe things based on the amount of effort, time, and even money they invest. Oh, going a bit quick. There is a desire to justify the investment. Cult leaders can slowly lead people away to believe anything.
Can we go and make a comparison between the Suez Canal and the Panama Canal?
Hmm.
Yeah, the Panama Canal is just a great example.
I think the Suez Canal has no gadgets and contraptions for the ships to go through. I think it's just a canal, flat water canal.
You mean that there's no locks?
Yeah, yeah. I'm not really sure about it.
The Suez Canal is longer than the Panama Canal.
Yeah, I think it's 100 miles.
Yeah, there's got to be locks, otherwise you'd have to account for the curvature of the Earth and that geometric drop.
But the Panama Canal is like 80 kilometers and it's full of locks. So where is the curve? Bowlers, where is it?
Yeah, just presuppose it.
So sorry if I'm boring today as well.
Just ignore Jose. He's just butthurt that he doesn't understand his own bullshit.
No, I agree with him that my voice sounds awful. I give him that.
Well, the one thing I was going to say is, you know, one thing I hear a lot and across the board, and this is back to what I was saying about the religious aspect of things. Most people trust somebody else to give them the information or the truth. And I think religion starts there as well. You know, when you trust, like Nathan says all the time, you're priests of science. And when you trust your priest at a church to give your information or tell you what the Bible says or tell you whatever anything is, I think there's where things start to break down largely. And Jose, to me, reflects the fact of him really trying to, he's depending on somebody else, but he doesn't truly understand it. And I think one thing about the Flat Earth movement, I have noticed it has made ordinary people scientists again. We're trying to understand without somebody else telling us. We're trying to figure it out ourselves. And if more people would do that in a lot of areas of their life, I think a lot of things would change, but they don't. You know. Sorry, I don't want to get back on the rant on that, but I just want to make my point again.
I think Jose will go flat.
Say we'll go back or go flat?
Go flat. Was he flat before? I didn't know that.
Well, he pretended to be.
No, he didn't pretend. I do think he was sincere when he was like questioning it. I think he's in his insincere phase now because I'll be blunt. When Nathan had his issues, Jose didn't have somewhere to go and like ask his questions. So by not having that platform, I think Jose's ended up going into the swamp, and he's been dragged under by them all because of peer pressure, conformity reasons, not being strong himself. Really, he knows that it's not a sphere because he's admitted that the other housekeeping questions are all issues to him. But he's happy to ignore all them because he's found a little bit of what he calls curve. Well, let's just give him the curve. Well, he can have it. Let him have it.
I gave him the curve yesterday.
Huh?
I gave him the curve yesterday.
Yeah, he can have it. It doesn't prove that it's curved just because he thinks it is, and like he's entitled to think it is. But he knows really it's not. He just doesn't want to accept it.
So with that, we are going to round out for a short break, at least for the live audience on the Nathan Oakley channel. So a massive, huge, enormous thank you to all of you who've tuned in live. Stick around or go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum if you need something to occupy yourself for the next half an hour or so while I set it for the next live show. If you're watching this on Nathan Oakley 1980, then stay tuned as there will be a short after show to follow. I've been Nathan Oakley and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
I bumped into an article that was kind of interesting because it seems that other people, or that there's some interest now coming for actually filming the horizon. Don't know if you bumped into it. I did share it in the message.
I saw it on Skype.
Right, so I'm gonna present it. Apparently, some border patrol person at the Finland border caught this, extended mirage, a very obvious mirage of an island basically being displaced upward. Pretty interesting. They're not even talking about, oh, globe or flat or anything. They're just saying, no, it's just a mirage, just like in the desert. Apparently, it works in really cold regions as well. Thought it was interesting.
Can you make the picture bigger so I can see it better?
Let's see.
I know you posted it in Skype. I just I'm at work, so I didn't really get a chance to look at it.
This is as big as it's gonna get, I think.
Oh, by the way, Dayan, did you find that what I posted to you?
Oh yeah, for sure. Thanks a lot, Chocolate.
Okay, cool. No problem.
Not gonna eat, yeah. Oh boy, I ate the chocolate 5 minutes ago.
If you save the photo locally, you can open it using a image app and then zoom in that way.
I don't think I can get it bigger. Besides, the resolution's just gonna go down.
So which part is the mirage? Like, what am I looking at right now?
Oh, it's at the horizon, and you're seeing this. There's no buildings over here or anything. So this is just rocks basically being miraged, displaced upwards, stretched or something.
No. It's a mirror image from the middle of it. I can see it.
Yeah.
If you draw a straight line in the middle of the rocks, it's a mirror image on the bottom.
Right. Right.
I'll have to look at it in more detail later.
Yeah, and it was in a very cold region. It was minus 25 degrees Celsius when this photo was made. So, see, like what the guard's wearing is like, yeah, it's cold.
This is what a flat body of water does. Impossible if there is a curve.
What is in the foreground? Is that snow or is that?
Yep.
Okay, so it's. Is there any water between the foreground and that hill in the background, or is this just all on land?
I think it's all on land. But it might be frozen over. Look, minus 25 degrees Celsius, Finland. So, yeah, cold.
What's
Even if
the
there was
title?
water, it's going to be frozen over.
Or frozen lakes?
Yeah.
Go back up, Aaron. What's the title of the article?
Strange new island or mirage. Border Patrol tweets phenomenal photo. February 25th.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought so. It's like completely out of nowhere. It's like, hey.
Let's see how long before somebody calls this curve.
I don't think they're going to go there.
So scared.
There weren't really any flat earth related comments in the chat either. Just silly, trollish remarks and blah. Our atmosphere is changing, behaving differently, blah, blah, blah. Fantastic mirage. Mirage of Trump's steel wall. Yeah. But they don't talk about, oh, spherical, this, or, oh, it's just looming up from the curve. No, they don't mention flat or sphere at all. They're just focusing, look, it's a mirage. It's optical at the horizon. Look at that. It's cool. It's kind of what Jose is doing. But in Finland. Yeah.
I don't understand the new island part of the title. Like, what makes them think it's a new island? I don't get it.
It's just attention grabby. It's just like, oh, look at this. This is an island. And then, no, it's actually a mirage that makes it look like that. Makes it look unusual. So it's an attention grabber, I think.
I'm starting my own countdown. It's, in 5 years, flat Earth will replace the globe. -5.
You think that fast, huh?
Yep, definitely.
We got a lot of indoctrination to get through before that.
I'm more optimistic than I am.
How about a lot of institutions?
I like to think positive, but man, 5 years, I don't know. Do you see how these people are still acting now?
Yeah, but they're taking it over from us. They're doing the better job themselves right now, which is so ironic. I mean, their desperation is just that what's gonna kill them. It's like, you know, when curiosity killed the cat, so all the cats are coming to smell flat Earth. Conspiracy cats and other sorts of cats.
It's a good one.
I mean, you never know, man. I mean, people are waking up. I mean, just in the past week, I was able to really open up the minds of 2 people at my job. You know, like, they're just like, yo, I really don't believe I live on a ball anymore. It's like, I started talking to them about this, like, maybe a few days ago. Depending on the level of critical thinking, whatever person you're talking to is capable of, you know, it could happen just that fast.
It's like network marketing, you know, where you go mouth to mouth.
Well, I do think that
It
probably
exponentially increases itself.
Indeed. I think before there's going to be some kind of official declassification. I don't actually know if that's ever going to happen, but I do get the feeling that flat Earth momentum is going to reach a critical mass worldwide very quickly with the general public. I think that is definitely going to happen. But look, just like protesters against crazy policies of government are just being given the silent treatment, the door shut policy, they're probably going to do that with flat Earth also as long as possible, and just keep their globe on the inside in the official narrative rollout, and just try to ignore that the public no longer believes it. I think that's going to be the next stage, and that might approach pretty quickly.
In some ways, what I think is kind of funny, that it might actually help us for them to continue to try to censor this, because I think it's censoring it that helps people see it. Because I've had a couple people at my job ask me, I was looking into this conspiracy stuff, and it's like, I heard they want to censor, people talking about flat Earth, and it's like, what the hell? Like, if it's so stupid, why do they want to censor it? Like, there's ancient aliens on TV every day.
Yeah.
So why are they censoring that if that's so much dumber than, ancient aliens or something like that, And I was just like, but that's the whole point. Ask yourself, why are they censoring this? Why are they specifically going after this stuff? This and 9/11.
Right.
But yet, I can turn in every day to the ancient aliens.
Indeed, and yet, like Bigfoot documentaries, nothing personal, Karen. They are just on the History Channel, supposedly the sign. They do that.
Yeah.
But flat Earth? No.
Well, they lie about Bigfoot
that's
too,
more
though.
feasible.
No, I know there is
about.
something to Bigfoot.
They lie about it. They tell you lies about it. I mean, it's just like, there's actually a lot of similarities between that and flat Earth. It's like they can't really hide the fact from you that Earth is flat and motionless. They just lie to you about it.
Right, and I think that Bigfoot is probably rolled out as a controlled opposition concept to counteract the awakening to giants having existed. Just to roll the associated ridicule out whenever people might bring that up. Oh, you believe in Bigfoot or something? That's the trick. They create the ridicule to counter the real things.
Aaron, you're right about the declassification, because you see that it was just the past few years that NASA started declassifying documents that state flat and motionless Earth. So you're right on that point.
But yeah, look, the establishment is just having a really, really hard time with all of this, because there's just such a huge web of lies in all directions that something like flat Earth, it exposes so much of the lie structure that's just has become inherent to the system, that they don't know how to deal with it. And that's probably why they're doing the closed doors policy, because they just don't know how to deal with it. They can't find a way out and save their system, save their government system.
I see them trying to pull off a big inside job thing on the internet, like 9/11, like too much hackers or something, and they'll try to take over the internet. That's probably their. I see it as a possible event happening.
Absolutely. Look, Internet 2 was conceived over a decade ago, and even openly leaked, basically, that they're planning that. Yeah. They will try to censor all of it, everything, not
Like
just
what?
flat Earth, everything.
You remember that they
And
were
move the mainstream media front line into the internet entirely. They're gonna try it, and it's gonna suck. They get their way. We're gonna have to fight very, very hard for free speech on the internet.
But that will piss off people even more. And then,
I know. It's gonna even up the pressure even worse. It's gonna get crazy, one way or the other.
And then it's all on them.
In the end, it will all be on them. And
They'll
that's
have to-
why
they'll
they're
have
just
to
putting
find
their,
a way to
their
get
heels
away.
in the sand and like, no, I don't want to move on.
See, when we reach that point, they'll wish that space is real because they want to fly off in space just to save themselves.
Well,
If
that's
you,
their proof that
if you believe
space
in lies
is real.
long enough,
Rockets, like Red's rhetoric. That's the only proof that he has for the bullshit that he asserts is rockets. Nonsense. I saw him actually try to prove that rockets are flying into a vacuum by first getting the flat earther to affirm that if you were to, open some type of gas container in a vacuum, it would disperse in all directions. The flat earther agreed to that because we all know that's probably what would happen, right? That's what would happen. So he displays a rocket, and at various stages, the exhaust from the rocket is doing various things. So his proof is that at the top stage, the rocket, the gas seems to expand in all directions, and he asserts that that's the proof that the vacuum has reached a vacuum because the exhaust and coming out of the back dispersed in all directions as opposed to going straight back when it was in the atmosphere. And I just looked at that with my mouth open like, wow.
he makes a good point.
Are you kidding me? that's your proof. Okay. Very interesting. Bullshit, but very interesting.
It's a switcheroo.
Because it's like there's nothing that tells you exactly how high that. Well, I'm sure maybe I didn't pay too much attention, so I don't know exactly how high the rocket was supposed to be. But I mean, come on, you're just assuming that shit's in a vacuum, and you're assuming that it's working in the vacuum. Like it's just bullshit, and that's all they have.
Well, not only that, but then they tell you that the escape velocity to leave Earth's atmosphere is something like 25,000 miles per hour. But then if you watch the rocket launches, they never get anywhere near that speed. I mean, they tell you the speed right in the corner of the screen. It's like
Yep.
It's nowhere near that.
But if you go up high enough, it all becomes relative. Remember Einstein. Remember Einstein.
And with that, I'm going to say another huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the debating panel for making this after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you in the Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering stream. If you want to keep yourself occupied after the stream is over, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the forum to keep up to date with the community flat earth debate. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!